Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome to the Avexia webinar series. Our topic for tonight's special webinar is leveraging technology to streamline and scale your health programs with Biocanic. My name is Joanne Iverson. I am the Director of Client Relations for Avexia Diagnostics and will be your host for this evening. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of being joined by an exciting guest, Jeremy Malecha, who will be our presenter for this webinar. Jeremy is CEO and co-founder of Biocanic with over 20 years of healthcare and software-related experience. Prior to Biocanic, he was the Vice President of Strategy in ResMed's SaaS business. Across his 10-plus year career at ResMed, he also held senior leadership roles overseeing global product management across the product portfolio and was the lead person behind the conceptualization and launch of the ResMed digital health ecosystem. Today, Jeremy is a catalyst for building a new integrative medicine marketplace rooted in the power of health intelligence and consumer advocacy so society can take back control of their health and wellness in a post-pandemic world. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering in Biomedical Engineering from Northwestern University, in addition to multiple patents in signal processing for medical applications. Joining Jeremy for the conversation about Biocanic will be Jenn Malecha, the Wholistic Health Boss. Jenn helps career-driven, results-focused functional health entrepreneurs who make $10,000 or more per month quickly by finding their ideal clients with a start-to-finish approach for building, pricing, selling, and efficiently delivering their programs so they can scale their impacts and income. As a business coach using over a decade of business through her Wholistic Health Boss health coaching brand, she also supports busy health-minded professionals in taking back control of their health by giving them access to the right lab tests and resources so they can find the missing pieces of their health puzzle and actually fix what is wrong to get them back to feeling like themselves again. As always, joining us tonight will be Dr. Wayne Sedano, our Director of Clinical Support and Education at Avexia Diagnostics. Additionally, Dr. Sedano is the Director of Integrative Medicine Education for the College of Integrative Medicine and lectures and teaches internationally. Before we begin, just a bit of housekeeping. We encourage participation. So if you have a question, you may submit your questions in the questions field in the right-hand area of the interface. We will answer submitted questions towards the end of the presentation. And if your questions are not answered this evening, you will surely receive an answer by email within a day or two. In addition, you have the ability to download the slides to follow along with Jeremy and Jenn's presentation by clicking the download button in the handouts section of the webinar interface. Without further delay, I will now turn the webinar over to Jeremy and Jenn.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Joanne. Really a pleasure for everybody that's attending live or watching the recording. Really excited to give you an overview of Biocanic. If you haven't heard about us before, that's because we're relatively new. We were founded 5 years ago, and we built this technology platform for the functional and integrative health industry. So today I thought it would be great to talk about how our technology really solves problems for health practitioners. So I thought it'd be great to bring on both my favorite practitioner and my wife, Jenn, who this really was built around both her experience in watching her struggle using the typical software systems today, but also my experience as her client going through the process with the kind of traditional approaches that you probably have seen or are using in your clinic today. So maybe we'll just kick it off, and Jenn, maybe talk about your evolution story, and then we'll kind of go through Biocanic.
Yeah, welcome everybody, and I'm excited to bring you our wisdom and experience here today in the industry. I have been a functional health practitioner since 2012, and as Jeremy said, as well as you probably have experienced in getting your practices starting, Started in the beginning, really like, just kind of bootstrapped everything, trying to figure things out. And as my clientele started to grow, I realized that the process and systems that I had in place were really lacking in order to help me scale my business. I was tracking client onboarding on a spreadsheet, as we'll talk a little bit more about later, and was finding that there was gaps in that. People were falling through the cracks, and I wasn't delivering the best service to my clients to really have an impact in transformation in their lives, essentially. So I pretty quickly identified that I needed better systems in place to support delivering a better experience for clients that actually engage them in the work to get results, and that it would also free up my time in order for me to, one, be able to handle more clients, scale my business, and two, be able to take better care of myself. I think as most of you here could probably relate to, a lot of us got into the field of functional, holistic, integrative health because either we have experienced our own health journey or because of a loved one in a lot of ways. And so I think that as we move into this field and in this industry and build a business, we want to build a business that supports a lifestyle that allows us to lead by example for our clients and our audience and really take good care of ourselves. So we're going to show you what Biocanic can do for you, and then also some of the work that Jeremy and I do to complement and bring you guys together for a full service solution that can really support the growth in your business and also being able to live your best life.
Yeah, awesome. So let me just share a couple slides with everybody. I think the slides are up there. So my background is traditional electronic medical records. So I have been in the traditional healthcare industry for quite some time. I was in acute care or hospital-based EMRs, ambulatory care, even post-acute care. And one of the things that, I've really understood was that an electronic medical record or practice management system has and always has been built around fee-for-service. So it's episodic care for the purposes of charting for reimbursement, referrals, or just documentation. That is not the model for this delivery of functional or integrative or holistic health. It's never been built or intended to actually engage someone along the way. And so we call our system a health intelligence system. And it's really built for practitioners to be more efficient in driving outcomes and seeing their data faster and more efficiently, but more importantly, also helping the clients understand where they're at within their individual health journey. And so one of the big things that I discovered early on in watching Jenn and many other practitioners is there was many challenges that you all are probably experiencing today. Unlike the traditional healthcare model, you have to do your own marketing, your business development, you have to be nurturing your leads and your contacts throughout the process. You have different communication systems. When you're thinking about the data analysis, you're probably working in multiple systems. You have multiple PDF documents. Some of these other systems have complex interfaces, and they're constantly evolving over time as new technology comes to market. And then on the consumer side, and this was my experience, is I struggled to really understand. So I had 4 lab tests, I had supplements in a Word document, I was tracking my health in a spreadsheet, I have my Oura Ring, my Garmin, whatever I'm using. And so it was really challenging. I was an engineer, so I built the spreadsheet to track everything. But for your general run-of-the-mill client, it's really hard to understand where you're at. And so we were seeing in some of our market research where a lot of our practitioners were losing up to 75% of their clients after the results review because they felt overwhelmed. And so really what we're trying to do through our health intelligence system is really streamline that process. So from the intake process, from the assessment forms, the medical health history, we're unifying that disparate data and really driving engagement for you and your clients to really revolutionize that patient experience. And you're probably asking, well, how does that fit in? So when you think about your functional, cash pay business, there's really 3 key components to it, and we'll touch on each one of these today. Obviously, the first one is the client acquisition. So how are you connecting with your clients? Where are you connecting with them at? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook ads? Is it local events? Then there's the business operations and automation component. How are you reaching out to them? How are you onboarding them? How are you collecting payment? But then most importantly, is that health program design and implementation. And that's really where Biocanic comes in, is your end product is your health program for you and your clients. And that's where we really kind of streamline things. So for us, it's really about efficiently onboarding new clients, thinking about all the time it takes for you to review the intake, assign the intake forms, review the intake forms, order the labs, download the labs, process the labs, aggregate everything, create a process, and then have your follow-up. Then how do you actually keep them on track? How are you tracking them through? Are you using wearables to engage them? Are you using self-reported diary functionality? So that is our platform and our value proposition about how we solve for that. And so what we're thinking about is, what does the health optimization cycle really look like? So the first thing is, and everybody lives this, but we wanted to kind of put this on paper. It's a cycle. It's not an episodic care. And that's really where the traditional practice managements fall down in terms of helping you streamline and scale your business, right? So you're starting on the assessment, you're going through the interview, your feedback, your understanding, your medical symptom questionnaire, then you're ordering the tests, which is what we'll focus on today. So it could be blood work, microbiome, hormone, food sensitivity, really whatever is in your approach for your particular patient population. Then you're making your recommendations, but how do you deliver those recommendations? How are you building upon those diet, lifestyle, stress, sleep management programs, supplementation, and then tracking that through? How are we objectively seeing whether their markers are improving, both from a lab perspective, but also those self-reported markers? So this is how we think about it. So when we built Biocanic, we built for solving the longitudinal information at scale. So our goal is, we're thinking about it rather than an episodic care or an episode of care that you would see in a traditional practice management, is how do we build the system to be able to support that? So we'll kind of dig into exactly how we've done that. But one of the important things to really consider is really thinking about your onboarding and your client experience. I always like to throw this quote up here, is when you have a poor experience and you're bringing somebody in who's paying out of pocket in a consumer experience, this is not the traditional healthcare model. They don't really have an option. They're reaching into their pocket and they're paying you for the services that you provide. It is absolutely critical that they're able to see that success. And so I mentioned this earlier, when we were talking to our practitioners and their clinics, they were seeing up to 75% loss in their clients when they would never return after the results review or visit. And so if you think about that from an a la carte model, if you're going just a consultation and a results review in a single, one at a time meeting, if you actually add up the time it takes and the cost it takes to run those Facebook ads, say it's $150 of your time and maybe your investment to get them to come on board, maybe you've collected a couple sessions, maybe you've got some supplement commissions, you really are challenged to really scale your business and really make the money that you want to be able to earn. Whereas if you're driving that successful outcome, now you have those quarterly meetings, those bi-weekly meetings, maybe monthly meetings. This is really where the efficiency comes in. Not only is it financially beneficial for you to have a better client experience, it's also financially better for you. And when you simplify that patient experience, this is what's going to drive that successful practice. They become your marketing engine. You get to spend less time on the client attraction side and really focus on client care and delivering those outcomes. And so how do we do that at Biocanic? We've built an unrivaled data system. So, we've been at a lot of conferences lately. A lot of the struggles is, I have, a system for programs, I have a system for dietary tracking, I have wearables and everything else. We're now bringing that all together for you. So we do everything from intake forms, wearable integrations, over 10 of them today. We automatically process over 200 different specialty labs, and we'll show you that here at the end in the example of my particular health journey. We do CRM integrations, we can do scheduling, we do self-reported data and tracking, group programs, really anything for your particular approach in this space we can solve for. And so for that, we can reduce the onboarding time by over 60%. We centralize that data. So thinking about your check-ins, right? You haven't seen that person in a couple of weeks. Where are they at? You have to go back and open up all these different PDF documents and figure out all of those 5-minute, 10-minute zoom in, find the page. That adds up, and that's preventing you from scaling. So we're really about driving that efficiency to help you scale and grow your practice and be successful. We do have a free community as well. We highlight a lot of practitioners and approaches. So we're really here for the functional and integrative community. So we really want to help you be successful, also learn from your peers, and we help facilitate that through our offering. But what we're going to focus on, and I'm going to hand this over to Jen here in a second, is when we look back at that pyramid, those three components of that successful business, you know, we have our client acquisition, you're doing that today. Now, how do you create that scalable, repeatable model that you can do from anywhere in an efficient way? And so we'll focus on the Keep integration. And so we do have, you know, a number of different other integrations as well, but Jenn is a great example of how to actually implement this. So let me jump over to the slide. So I'll go ahead and hand it over and just holler when you need the next slide.
Definitely. All right, you guys. So I bet a lot of you can relate to what Jeremy has just shared, as a lot of us can, in terms of, you know, trying to like look at multiple different lab tests at the same time and track those correlations, and then also be able to track changes, you know, over time as you're working with a client. And that's just the half of it, right? So as I mentioned earlier, a little bit about my story, I realized really quickly that I needed better systems in place to really give a great experience to my clients, engage them in the content, to also be organized and help deliver the transformation and the, you know, the promise that I had made to them as their practitioner, as well as like run a business essentially. And so in the beginning, I was feeling really overwhelmed, tracking a lot of the things for clients just related to onboarding. I don't know about you guys, but when I onboard a health client in my business, they're typically doing, you know, 5 different lab tests, 4 intake forms. They have to complete, sign a program agreement, terms of service, basically, before they can actually have their first appointment with me. And as they're doing all that lab testing, you know that those results can come in at various times. They don't all come in together really easy, right? And they're coming in through all these different portals and things. And so I said, like I shared, I was feeling a little overwhelmed with a handful of clients. I was really excited back in 2012 to get my business going with my makeshift office and my business assistant here, Marshall, on my desk, helping me every single day. But I felt like every day felt like Groundhog's Day. I would sit down at my desk and I would have to review all my notes and try to remember where exactly I left off with everything, because I didn't have, you know, systems in place. And I was spending way too much time spinning my wheels, which then made me feel exhausted trying to be creative about any kind of marketing. Because also as a solopreneur or even an entrepreneur with a team, we still have to have energy to do other things in our business to grow our business, you know, in terms of marketing or doing sales calls, enrollment calls, or writing a book or anything else that you want to be doing. And so that's when I, like I said earlier, realized that this wasn't sustainable. I needed something else. So Jeremy, you can go ahead and hit me with the slide there. Now life is totally different. I did figure out solutions. Biocanic has been part of that solution and the growth that I'm going to share with you today. But business is booming. In fact, I still maintain, as you guys heard with my bio and intro earlier, I still maintain a health coaching business, running functional lab tests, working with people all over the world, while also doing business mentorship for other practitioners like you. And the reason that I'm able to do that is because my business is organized. I have systems in place that frees up my time, that really allows me to focus on what matters personally and professionally. And all of that is producing steady income and financial stability to keep reinvesting back in my business and also within myself. But in order to get there, to understand what I needed, I first had to understand a little bit more about the bigger scope of what business is and what we call the customer journey. So Jeremy, if you want to go and hit the next slide, you know, we have to be able to understand how to actually operate a business as a practitioner. It's nice to think that you would just get to sit in the practitioner seat and work with clients all day long, but that's not really running a business. We have to drive traffic into our business essentially, right? So, and we need to know where to like focus our efforts and what is then going to be worth our time and our investment of time. So you might be doing marketing in various different types of ways, like maybe you're on social media like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or something like that. Or maybe you focus on article submissions, being highlighted as an author or researcher, or you have a website where you're doing blogging. And all of that ideally should be centered around driving traffic to your business, which ultimately then helps you to build an audience, ideally we're building an email list when we're doing this work. And then when somebody is on our email list, that's actually where we get to interact within the greatest intimate capacity that nurtures them into being a client of ours eventually. So here's a little marketing statistic that I really want you guys to understand and take away with today, to really understand how all this interacts within your business, is that marketing research shows, there's actually research done on this, is that it takes a minimum of 20 touch points and up to 500 touch points before somebody becomes a customer. So all the things that we do in marketing and then on our email list are creating those touch points essentially that are eventually going to nurture somebody into being a customer of one of your programs or supplements or different offerings that you have. And to be smart and savvy in business, to be efficient in business, we also then want to understand what actions are giving us the greatest return. Are we getting the greatest return from things that are happening on Instagram or our blogs or Facebook or in other platforms, to know where we want to then double down in our business, focus our efforts that's going to generate more traffic, and not just more volume, but also quality volume. Those ideal people that you just love working with, right? And so in a lot of business trainings, people will focus, especially in the marketing side of things, people are going to focus a lot on this front end of your business, what we call like top of funnel front end marketing. But not a lot of people are focusing on the back end of the business. And I tend to say that this is the most important part. So Jeremy, if you want to flip the slide, I want to tell people, it's the next customer journey slide that was right after that, actually. Go back one more. So this is where, there we go. This is where a lot of people are missing the mark actually in their business, is that they're turning on the fire hose with their marketing. They're putting a lot of effort out there, but once people are funneling into their business, becoming a customer, they are then essentially like getting overwhelmed, delivering poor service or not the greatest quality of service. People are falling through the cracks, or they're not engaging in the program that you have to offer, and then they're therefore not getting the results. I literally just talked to a practitioner earlier today, a medical doctor who works in the ER, who's merging into the functional field, and he's currently working with clients, and his biggest pain point is the fact that people are not actually engaging in the program. He's got a client retention problem. Well, here's the thing, is that it costs more to acquire a client than it does to keep a client. And when we can keep a client and engage them in the work that we're doing, that's actually where we are having the impact that we want to have, where we're actually changing people's lives. And that's what creates the financial stability in our business when we do that. So I really like to emphasize on the work that I do with people is making sure that you have a really solid program delivery process, which means like solid onboarding, streamlining that, having a great customer experience in that realm of things. And then also, how do we continue working with them that's going to retain them, that's ultimately going to impact their lives, result in more referrals for you. They're going to become your cheerleaders out on social media, and that's going to have the greatest return in your business and creating that financial stability. So in order to do that, we also need to understand who the ideal client is so that we can organize a blueprint around all of these things and have organized execution. So on the inside of my system, we're going to go into a couple of slides that shows like the inside of a system and what is possible for you guys to be able to track through these things, everything from A to Z, like the external of your marketing all the way through to somebody becoming a client and beyond that, and all the little things that you need to do. So I implemented a system using a CRM. As Jeremy said, the system that I use is Keep. There are other integrations with Biocanic. This is the one right now that we have the greatest capacity with for fully automating a business. And what this allows us to do, because we're using a CRM, which is a client relationship management system, is they're widely known as sales and marketing tools, like doing email list management and all those types of things. But what a lot of people don't know is that CRMs can also help to automate and organize everything related to business administration and operations as well too. So this is a little snapshot of some of the things that my CRM using Keep helps me to do. As you can see here, it helps me to track my leads. So whatever I'm doing out on the internet or in my marketing, I can then see how those things are performing, the free opt-ins that I'm doing, and then how many people are booking discovery calls or applying for a discovery call and then booking an appointment. And then also how many people are on my waiting list, like what is my pool of fish that I have to fish from when I have client openings. I have a waiting list right now because business is so good. And so these are like the hot leads, as we would say, like our best opportunities for clients. And then as those people move from those opportunities over into becoming a client, now we can track the specific details related to their enrollment as a client that help us understand what is happening in our business, again, where our greatest opportunities are, what packages are selling the best, and then also being able to look at the organize and monitor the stages of onboarding specifically is the third little screenshot that you're seeing there. Like these are my different onboarding stages. So when somebody enrolls in my program, stage 1 is that I'm waiting for them to complete the test results and the intake forms. I know exactly how many people are in that stage. And then as we receive all the requirements in, they move to stage 2 where we're prepping the results. And then once we prep the summary of the results and the recommendations, we move them to stage 3 where now we're waiting for them to book a results review appointment. Eventually they get into that results review and then they go into regular session with me. So this helps me have eyes on where people are at, what the overall load is in my business. Like if I just enrolled a ton of people, all that's going to hit my calendar at once. So I know if I need to turn my wait list on, or if I am a little bit lighter in stage 1 and 2, then I can turn it off and take on some more clients, right? And also we have reporting and automation in here that helps to capture what we call stalled clients. So nobody falls through the cracks. We have safety nets in place. If somebody goes MIA or they don't complete something that they're supposed to be completed, you don't have to manually be tracking those things. You can step away and pay attention to other things in your life and your business and know that the system is going to capture that for you. And then in the detail of that, once they are within the onboarding process or actively working with us, Keep does all of our task management related to, again, admin and operations types of things that are within that fulfillment of the service promise, essentially. So let's take a look at like what this looks like on the back end. So what we do is on the back end, we build out this automation, and the automation is then just running on the back end to do all these things that I told you about. So you can literally enroll a client like I did earlier today and step away and know that everything is covered. Know that your clients are getting the emails that they need to receive with the instructions and welcome to the program, that they're getting reminder emails. We don't have to manually send templated emails or reinvent the wheel every single time and write a new email. All of that is being taken care of, and they are feeling super held in the process and guided by you as the expert, which is creating that great experience from the beginning. So the automation on the back end is helping to deliver all of that. And here's the cool thing of what else it does. So when we have something like Keep in place, a CRM, we look at that as your sales, marketing, admin, and operations tool. And Biocanic is then your client portal, or as we refer to it as like it's a EMR or an EHR of sort, right? So that's where we're going to interact with the client and actually engage them in the program contents. That's where they're doing their intake forms. That's where they're going to see their lab results. That's where they're going to watch their educational modules that you have for them along the way. And what we have with the integration is the automation. When they enroll, Keep automatically creates their account in Biocanic. It automatically assigns the intake forms. It automatically assigns program modules for us. And here's the other cool thing is as they're doing those things in Biocanic and engaging in the work, Biocanic is actually communicating that information back to Keep to help us document or record what is happening, so that Keep is the gatekeeper. It recognizes when somebody has met the requirements, when they've completed all the things in the onboarding process, and when they actually need to move forward. So Jeremy, can you hit the slide one more time here? And we can see some of the details, the greater details that we get within the contact record within Keep that's interacting with Biocanic. So this is helping to centralize all your data and your information in one place between Biocanic and Keep to create that full service solution. So we can see all the details in a more centralized place, like order history for program enrollment, other things that they might be doing with you. We can also then have client documentation about test results being received and turned in, as well as like if you guys are doing medical director consults with Avexia, for example, then all of those notes can be logged in here. So they're in a centralized place, not on a Google Doc or a written journal somewhere that you have to go back and refer back to. We can also see their client email history, which is really, really helpful sometimes. How many of you guys have been sending emails to clients and getting no response and just feeling like they're ghosting you? Well, now, when we're using our CRM to send emails, we can actually kind of spy on them. We can see if they're opening our emails, if they're clicking on the things in the emails, and more importantly, we can see if the emails are bouncing, that there is a technical problem that's happening, like there's a typo in their email. So now we can pick up the phone or give them a text message and get that information updated so that we can effectively communicate with them. And it also then shows us the client program tracking, all the actions that are taking place in order to facilitate the service. As I said before, having a CRM in place expands out into your sales and marketing. So Jeremy, if you can click the slide again, it helps you to actually scale your business with tools for things like lead generation, automating group programs, selling products on an e-commerce store, which ultimately expands your reach and expands your income. So we see a lot of times, like this is a scenario that I see a lot of times, is people have landing pages and ClickFunnels over here, which then is connected to an email, like a MailChimp email marketing system over there. And then they're using a different kind of client portal like Practice Better or something else over here. And none of the systems are really like talking to each other to centralize the business. And it becomes not scalable and it becomes expensive too, right? So one of the benefits of using specifically a CRM like Keep is that it houses all of your landing pages. It has e-commerce or a shopping cart. We can have email templates, file uploads, and it's HIPAA compliant as well too for those of you who have that specific need. So I want to give you a real life example of what I've just all been talking about, especially for those of you who maybe tech isn't your thing. Like, let's see what a real life example is. So here's me on Instagram. And as I'm on Instagram sharing what I do, I am driving people over to my website, to my traffic, right? So to my website, to my lead magnet or my opt-in. So they see this free program when they hit my website, which they opt into. And then there's an email nurture sequence within Keep. So all of that contact information when they opt into that lead magnet is coming into Keep. And then it's nurturing them to book a discovery call with me so that we can talk about working together. So once they book a discovery call with me, now there's an opportunity to turn them into a client. So Jeremy, you can go ahead and hit the next slide. So this is an example of one of my clients who actually went through this pathway. You can see the arrow up at the top, very top, it says it's documenting in Keep that this person came in through my lead magnet, that free program, then immediately submitted to book a discovery call. The source was from Instagram, as we kind of, if you follow the arrows down, she scheduled a discovery call. We've got submitted double opt-in here. So for those who don't know what a double opt-in is, this is a very important feature when we talk about email marketing that basically validates that this person wants to be on your email list, which helps with your email deliverability rates, which is very important. And then beyond that, we can see the next segment is when this person became a client. So as we work down the list, she bought my intensive program, got documented as a current client. Her contact record got created in Biocanic and all the intake forms got assigned in Biocanic. And now we can see documentation of the client actually engaging, taking action, and completing all of their required intake forms in order to participate in the offer, the program, the promise delivery that we had talked about to get her the results that she was looking for, right? So again, centralizing all this information, now we can even go back and look at this data, again, reflect on it, be able to pull reports and see where are our best sources of marketing, where are we getting the most people, and double down and focus our areas in those places to be more effective and get the greatest ROI on our time and money investment, right? Now, as I mentioned before, like knowing who your ideal client is critical in helping to develop this blueprint and how you're going to efficiently run your business. So when we look at like program delivery, for example, and automation, automation works best when we have a duplicatable process. And in order to have a duplicatable process, we need to be narrow into a niche. Now, narrowing into a niche is something that a lot of us resist as health professionals because we're so heart-centric. And I did this in the beginning as well too. I said, but I can help everybody. I don't want to limit myself. And the reality is that when we're trying to be everything to everybody, we're actually being nothing to nobody, essentially. And that's where our marketing message can land flat. People don't really understand what it is that we do. And it creates overwhelm and sucks energy out of our business because we're constantly customizing and creating new things for people instead of working efficiently. So even marketing genius Seth Godin will tell you your greatest opportunity for success is when you niche into 3% of the market space. So getting really narrow on that. When you nail your niche, you know who your ideal client is, you're attracting a common person with common problems who needs similar solutions, which becomes the guiding light of everything else that you do in your business. To have a really clear core marketing message to drive that traffic back to your website, to help design group or one-on-one programs that are actually going to deliver results and engage people, to know where you should focus your marketing efforts, knowing who this ideal person is and where do they spend their time, and even to deliver really value-driven enrollment calls, basically. So this is really critical, and this is the place where I start with all people when we start working together, because this is the foundation and the blueprint, like I said, for everything else in your business. So we're going to kind of start to wrap it up here, but I hope you guys found this incredibly helpful. I know we've shared a lot of information today. Jared, if you want to go ahead and flip the slide one more time for me. I tried to jam pack a lot of things in here. It can be a lot to take in, so I know you guys will have questions. We'll get to that here in a moment, but I also want to invite all of you to book a business strategy call with me if you want to discuss these things a little bit more, some of the work that we do from helping practitioners discover their niche and outline their programs all the way through to automation and systems, essentially. So that was an overview in a nutshell, and I'll let Jeremy take it back.
Awesome. So thank you. So just to kind of, you know, from that onboarding experience that Jen kind of talked about, we'll focus in on what we do here at Biocanic. So what you're seeing, this is my individual personal dashboard. And I want to just, you know, one of the big things that we focus on here in doing differently is most of you are probably using a typical practice management where you have your practitioner view, and then you also have the patient portal view. The problem with the patient portal view is it might as well be a glorified Dropbox with messaging. What we're really doing is we're trying to bring the data to life again for you to see it faster and more efficiently, so that when you are working with the client, you can understand it, but then also engage the client in their individual health journey. So what you see here up top, these are what we call health trackers. So I have a lot of stuff going on. I even have a CGM on right now. But we integrate with over 10 different wearable platforms. So some of the practice managements does have like a, you know, maybe a Fitbit integration. We integrate with Aura, Fitbit, Garmin, BioStrap, Temp Drop for basal body temperature tracking, HeartMath, Whoop, Withings, and then CGMs as well. So if you're using those components, or if you have clients that are actively tracking their health, it's a great way to kind of tie that in. And then one of the things that we do that's a little bit unique is we also do self-reported trackers. So if you are doing things like diary functionality here, so this is like a daily anxiety tracker. So every night, you know, I'll get a text message at 7 saying, you know, what's your anxiety level? We'll fill out a couple extra questions. This is fully customizable. And this is really unique. So whatever your program is for an individual, you can tailor it. So think about, trying to correlate IBD, IBS flare-ups relative to dietary decisions or environmental exposures. Now we can just simply say, hey, anxiety's a 6, I meditated, I took my supplements, I didn't avoid toxins, and I had a bunch of coffee. Now you have that visibility between sessions. And, again, going back to, listening to Jenn with her clients, it was like, hey, we want you to work on getting to bed before 10. We're working on morning energy. They show up 2 weeks later and they say, hey, did you actually do that? And they're like, of course I did, but they don't remember the teaching moment. Now you have visibility into that teaching moment. One of the things that we do want to focus on, we do have notes and communication. I'm going to come back to that as well. But the big thing that we do is we create what's called the functional summary. And this is really where the time saving comes in, specifically around broad-based metabolic and lab data. So you can order labs, so we'll focus. So you're going to go order lab. You'll select Avexia from the drop-down list. You'll see that you'll be prompted to connect your existing account. Once you've done that, now your account is connected to Biocanic. It'll take you back to the Biocanic dashboard once we get that set up. So now we've connected our individual account. So ordering the lab for the individual is super easy. So we're in my dashboard. So, hey, we're going to go back to Avexia. We're going to say, hey, we want to maybe order our custom panel. So I set up our custom panel with LabCorp, and then we're also going to run, let's say, a GI map. So here, pretty easy. We're just going to run that GI map. Then what we do is you can either choose whether your client's going to pay or whether you're going to pay. Once payment is collected from either your client or we charge your card automatically, we'll place the order with Avexia automatically, and that process begins. So there's no additional steps there. Then you'll see once that order is placed here, we have our pending results from a lab test that was ordered. When that data is available in your Avexia portal, we actually get a notification, and we're going to pull that across for you. And the big thing that we do is we actually automatically process the data out of those individual test reports. So here, this is really kind of where the power of the data and the analytics comes to life. So here we have what's called the functional summary. So we have our client reported, our scored self-assessment. So if you're using anything like an MSQ, Promise 10, or any of the other metabolic, if you have a specialized scored self-assessment, that's here as well. Then we have LabCorp, epigenetic, Oxford MRT, genetic testing, GI map, and Dutch test. So, and even a toxins test here as well. Why this is really great is if right now you have a snapshot view of 8 different specialty labs and standard blood panels. If any of you are trying to do this in another system, you probably have to go to the lab results folder, find the lab, open it up, move the lab over, then find the second lab, move that one there, find the third lab, move that there, and then you have to get to the right page and get to the right Zoom. That's what we call death by 5-minute paper cuts, right? So for any given client, it's taking you additional minutes to be able to do that, whereas here you get that snapshot view. And one of the things that was really critical in my personal health journey is, we worked with a lot of, I had a lot of GI related issues. I think I had Candida, SIBO, C. diff, and some other things along the way related to my history. Was not breastfed as a kid, was on chronic antibiotics. But here was the Dutch test. So, most of you are probably familiar with the hormone test. So I take this regularly. So what we see here is we have 8 Dutch tests over the course of the last 5 years. You always have access to that original test. So if you're like, hey, well, where did you start out in 2018? And we always kind of focus, and Jenn can kind of jump in on the experience here, was if we look at where I was. So I used to be 240 pounds, I'm now 200. Afternoon brain fog, I thought I was doing everything right, working out all the time. I was eating organic, gluten-free. But really, my issue was related to estrogen dominance. I would have presented as if I was low T, but here was my kind of outcome. And so the big focus of my journey was actually saying, hey, look, what's going on with the estrogen? Turns out I'm MTHFR heterozygous, so I'm not a good methylator. I'm also was organic gluten-free, but I was not carb-free. I was actually very carb-heavy. And then I was not detoxing estrogens as well, right? So looking at this example, this was my starting point. So if we really wanted to, kind of track and trend, if we're running this regularly across time, this becomes kind of difficult to do, right? If you think about 14 pages in a Dutch test, we need to get to page 6 every single time. We've pulled out that information. So we want to look at our estrogens here, and we can see that in our tabular view. But really what we can do is we automatically graph this information for you. So we can see my transient variability, so nothing too much going on there. But now when we actually look, here was that original test that I just showed to you, right? So here's where I started. My 4-OH, my 4-hydroxy E1 pathway, super congested, super backed up. And then we can see how my diet and lifestyle has actually tracked and trended over time. This is the critical component of how, one, you get to see this information without having to open up 8 different documents. But more importantly, it's now connecting to me that, hey, look, I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right things. And it's my motivation to stay motivated and continue working with my practitioner. And so we can do things like actually pinning that information to the individual's dashboard, which you see back on my dashboard. And then we can see how all of the estrogen markers have been trending in the right direction over time as I've been working on supporting my own individual needs from a health improvement journey. So that was kind of a big thing. And, you know, for those of you that do use, so I personally run the GI map, but for any other of the microbiome tests, you know, it's oftentimes, especially when you're dealing with orders of magnitude on different dysbiosis or, you know, different markers, it can be always difficult to figure out what's high and what's low, and there's a lot of variability. So now, you know, I've been running the GI map since back in 2016. I'm, you know, the estrogen stuff came up a little bit later, but now we can actually look at, you know, how my marker, so you know, I've said Candida, I had Rhododendron at some point. We can see how my H. pylori has been trending at different times. But when we look at things like the intestinal health markers, you know, we see here, look, my beta glucuronidase is always transiently high. That's just me, that's who I am. But if you only see that one time, that doesn't necessarily help you really understand what's important for me as an individual. And we can see on the last one, now we've got really big changes in calprotectin, anti-gliadin IgA, and SIG-A changes over time. This is where the speed and the power really comes together for you and your individual clients. So maybe let me pause there and get back to the dashboard. So here, so what we've done is now we've connected that marker, which is important to me, alongside of all of the other things that I'm tracking in my individual health journey. We connect with all the different supplement companies, so you can create your own supplement protocols. We pull this all together, so I have a couple protocols set up here. It can be, you know, anything. You can connect to the different dispensaries, and it's all set up for you. But now creating that follow-up documentation is even easier for you. So we had our scored self-assessment, we have our lab data. So now what we can do is we can pull together all that information. So many of you probably are struggling with the charting process. So we have what's called the summary report. So we can pull all that information. A lot of our practitioners were spending up to an hour writing those follow-up reports. So if we start the timer, we're gonna have our demographics, client reported, supplements. Step 2, we're gonna include our self-assessment. We're gonna include, we'll use that Dutch test information. We'll just show the out of ranges. If you do want to include any of the tracker information, you can do that as well. Then we're gonna do our interpretation, so our templated interpretation, then set up our health plan. And within less than 30 seconds, we've created that follow-up chart that includes all of that information, our scored self-assessment, the out-of-range markers from the Dutch test, the interpretation assessment, the plan, and the supplements. So now it really becomes just a matter of tweaking it for the individual, making any additional updates, sign off on it, share it, and you're off and running and done. So we really kind of bring that together. We also do things like group content. So if you did want to say, hey, we want to enroll this person into a program, maybe they bought in for, say, hey, we want to enter into the cleanse challenge. We enroll that client. Now they're notified of that. They can do self-enrollment, so you can actually run that through your directly or through a CRM, and then they're notified they're enrolled into the program. So here's cleanse challenge. That person looks familiar. So I go through each module. Once I complete that module, then I move on to the next module. And all of that now is coming together. So you don't have to have that educational system. You don't have to have that separate supplement system. You don't have to have that separate wearable system. It's all brought together for you. So we also do diet and meal planning. So if you do want to do some dietary coaching, maybe a low FODMAP diet, you can automatically enroll somebody into that program. So here we're going to make let's say a dietary recommendation. So for the individual, hey, Jeremy, you know, we see some SIBO. We're going to put you on a low FODMAP diet, and we saw that you had food restrictions for beef and cow, and we'll just say eggplant, for example. Once you click save and send, our app will automatically generate that meal plan. They could do food logging, search for recipes in restaurants. So it really becomes a full experience across the full integrative or functional medicine approach. So with that, Jen, did I miss anything that you would think I should cover?
No, I think you did a great job. And if we can open up for questions, we'll cover anything that we missed.
That was really amazing. I mean, this is a very different type of webinar that we've hosted, and I'm taking this away from Jeremy. I mean, the speed and power of a platform like this to, organize relevant data is just amazing. So I do have a few questions, and please, everybody chime in, and we still have time for questions. Can you explain more on the price structure or any, we haven't talked anything about, costs associated with all this.
Yeah, so we are on a per practitioner per month basis. So a lot of the other platforms have kind of like client tiers. If you go to 25 or 100 clients, it's different. We are one monthly fee. So we start at $50 per practitioner per month. So if you had, let's say, 2 practitioners, maybe it's yourself and a health coach, it's $100 a month. Our program builder is the educational content that we saw, which was the Cleanse Challenge, is a $10 add-on, and the Precision Eating app that we have is a $20 add-on. So all in, it's $130 a month if you did everything. We do also now offer e-prescribe. So if you are a prescribing physician and you do want to have e-prescribe, that is actually combined with our supplement recommendations. So it actually comes together in one spot for your clients. That starts at, one prescriber starts at $150, and that's just because the cost of the prescriber network and the fax confirmation system that has to come in. So it's very affordable, even compared to a larger practice management system. So really, we're very a la carte. We'll structure a subscription model for you, and there's no kind of tiers. So you don't have to worry about, hey, I'm going to grow bigger, my costs are going to get out of control. It is just that one monthly fee without any complex usage limitations.
Excellent, thank you. Anything fitness related in the software is a question?
Yeah, so we do, in the program content, we do have some of our practitioners. You can actually create like program content. I was actually working with a practitioner. So this was an example type of educational program. So this person built out individual, like a female beach body workout, for example, embedded their personal videos or online videos of maybe a fitness influencer that they're using. You can also attach documents. So in this case, they had like a printable handout. That PDF was embedded, and then they had basically a daily workout. So each day, a new module was going to be delivered. That was both a recommendation for, what is their workout routine, and then you have a workout table where they can actually enter the information of what they actually completed within that workout routine throughout the individual program. We also allow you to link out to other systems. So if you are using one of the fitness apps, you can actually create tasks. So if you wanted to say, for example, create tasks for your individual to go sign up for that under your individual practitioner account, you can link that in. So we try to make it very streamlined depending on which system or how you want to go about actually delivering that for your individual client.
Oh, let's look for a few more here. Are you able to help migrate data from other EMRs like Practice Better to Biocanic?
Absolutely, we do that all the time. So we will help you. Well, one, we'll import your contact list, so all of your clients will be created from that CSV. We'll set up a secure the secure file folder for you. We'll get those imported over, And then what we recommend is for the additional information, either just downloading it and attaching like your notes or charts or anything as a note to the individual, or moving them over one at a time. Lainey from our team actually moved from one of the other systems like Practice Better to our system. So we've actually helped a lot of different clinics on kind of what's the right approach, depending on how busy you are and how you want to go about doing it. You know, there's always going to be a transition period, but we're here to support you through that process. One of the things that we also are different, we know that our practitioners are busy, they're overwhelmed. We're here to help you, and we're humans. You don't have to get email support or go to a web page. We'll work with you one-on-one as much as you need to get everything up and running, even if it means building your intake forms and your assessment forms, so you don't have to worry about moving those over.
Great. Will you be integrating? I've got two questions on here related to Go High Level. Do you know what that's all about?
Yes, absolutely. And we can support Go High Level. We actually have documentation available. We are agnostic when it comes to the CRM system. So we do Keep is our most robust integration, but we do have availability for an API for Go High Level and Salesforce as well. But really any system that has the ability to do what's called a HTTP post or a secure post, we have an endpoint that you can write to, and we'll work with you. We know that there's a couple other ones out there like Simplero or Kajabi that people are wanting to use, and that's how we actually grow our ecosystem over time. So we like building integrations. It helps kind of create us as a robust full service solution. So just let us know, and we'll work with you on that as well. The Go High Level, we can provide the documentation. We always recommend make sure you have a technical doer on your team that can build the automations. So we can show you how to do it if you're super tech savvy with Go High Level.
Excellent. Here's just a comment. What a wonderful platform. Do you have ready-made courses, and can we add courses as well? It's just
Absolutely.
one of those questions.
Yeah, we actually, on all the assessment forms, we have what we call global ones that are available. So we have like a generic intake form. Some of our partner educational systems just make those available. We've done the standard MSQ, Promise 10, GAD 7, PHQ 9. So all of those are built, and we can get those dropped into your account. We also built educational content already. So we have a 28-day low carb eating program that we built with Keto Mojo. So their dietitian, Jessica Ernst, helped us build out that program. So we can just drop that into your account so you can have a good working example. And we can also work with you on helping getting your program built or copied over from another system.
Thank you. And just I want to confirm that, Biocanic can absolutely support LabCorp, working everything we do, custom panels, and all of the specialty labs, everything exactly. All in this one platform.
Exactly.
Same thing with supplements as well too?
Yeah, so we obviously, we directly integrate with FullScript, but a lot of our practitioners have their own e-commerce sites or Shopify sites. What you can do is you can build your protocols with the supplements to your link or your dispensary, your affiliate link. And then what that does is it really simplifies for your client. I can't tell you the number of times Jen would tell me, I get a frantic email on Wednesday, I'm leaving town, I'm out of X, Y, or Z supplement, I don't know where to order it. You can now mix and match. So maybe you're using 70% FullScript, and then you use a couple affiliate links, and then I want you to go to Amazon and get bone broth protein. All of that can come together, and that ordering link, you just train your client, hey, if you need something, click the product, and it goes to wherever you want them to reorder from.
That's amazing. Are you able to, somebody had asked, can a sample protocol be shown again? Was that with the client summary? I don't know if you can go back to the sample protocol.
Yeah, sorry, I was lost. I didn't realize my screen was still sharing. So if we go to, let me just go back to myself. So what we see here is this is my supplement tracker. So this is for the client. So if I need to reorder a product, I can just go to the individual product. So here, this is set up via setting up your own individual supplement protocol. So if we look at that's pulling from here, so when we set up our protocol, so this would be an individual product, So this biotoxin binder's ordering URL is set to Jenn's ordering page for her supplement store. So when we apply that to the individual and we go back, then when I need to reorder, I'm going to click and it's going to take me to her ordering page at her supplement store. What we also do is now, because we're combining both full script and individual links, we'll auto generate this document for you. So this is going to be your logo. Here is the summary of all of the supplements that have been recommended. And then we'll have each protocol written out. So if you do have supplement notes or additional instructions, we can actually see them together. And that's dynamically updated as you update or make changes. So we want to stop on, Megaspore, but we're going to start on a heavy metal binder. This is it really speeds up and simplifies that process. And then, of course, when you do that follow-up supplement, that summary report, it's also included. So we're pulling from that same information. So this was that summary report that I built, and we see down at the bottom, here's our supplement protocols here. So Cellcore, full script, here's the time of day and any supplement notes as well.
That's really fantastic. I know there's going to be just a few other questions that we will get over to you guys to answer. It's a lot of information. I wanted just to make sure everybody knows also in the handout is a second attachment. It's the Avexia Biocanic integration instructions. So Jeremy, you pretty much walked through that. It's really easy. I guess once they sign up with you, then automatically they're going to be able to integrate their Avexia account. And those instructions are just there, really easy to walk through. So please make sure you do download those as well.
Yep, so it is going to be your existing Avexia account. If you have any custom panels, they will appear there, where you're just connecting to the portal without actually having to go log into the portal. So everything is tied in behind the scenes.
Okay. Are there any other slides? Maybe just one last one for me to wrap things up? With that, again, this has been amazing, and I know we're going to have a lot of questions. So really, guys, this is how you reach us. We're here 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Avexia, info@avexiadiagnostics.com, our toll-free hours with that. This presentation and the link of this recording should be probably available in about 2 to 3 days. Everybody that signed up for this webinar will get that. So please make sure you download the presentation and the integration instructions. We'll have that available for you as well with that. So again, I met Jeremy well over a year ago. Our teams have been working side by side. I've been able to see demos from time to time, but a really amazing, powerful platform.
And one of the things that we love to say is our roadmap is driven by our practitioners. So we're listening to you. So if there's things like, hey, it'd be great if, that is exactly how we built this platform over time. And as Joanne knows, the platform has a lot more features and functionality from a year ago as it does today, including things like e-prescribe as our practitioners have kind of evolved and expanded their practice. We're here to listen to you. So if you do have features, hey, it'd be great if, are you thinking about doing that? We'd love to have those conversations. So definitely go to our website, book a demo, reach out to us. Like I said, we're very hands-on with our practitioners, and we want to make sure that everybody's successful and really driving better client outcomes across the board, because we really do believe that this is kind of the future of health and wellness. So, we're really excited to be partnered up with Avexia. So thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Jeremy, Jen, Dr. Sedano, just for listening through all this. Very informative. Let us know how we can support you, everybody. Thank you again for joining us for this webinar event. Until next time, from everyone at Avexia Diagnostics and Biocanic, stay healthy, stay safe, and we wish you all the best on your pathway to wellness. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.